Welcome to Inspiring IT Leaders, where we feature top technology leaders and those amazing expressions they use to communicate, to teach, and to inspire. I'm Dan Roberts, your host of this series of 5-minute micro videos, and I'm excited to shine the light on the top digital and business leaders who are standout communicators. In this episode, we shine the light once again on the incredibly talented yet humble Julie Cullivan. Julie brings a unique perspective now that she sits on several boards and also as a former Chief Technology Officer and Chief People Officer, roles which she held simultaneously. Thank you, Julie, for sharing your leadership wisdom via this Julieism. Let's check it out.
Start with yes. And what I always meant by that was, look, every technology organization that I've ever worked in, it has got way more demand and there's way more great ideas about what could be done than there are resources, budget, et cetera. But what I found is when, you want to build this partnership with the rest of the organization, if every time they come to you with a, hey, could we do this? Or I'd really like to make this happen. If the conversation immediately starts with a, oh gosh, that's simply not possible. We've already got our priorities. There's no budget for that. I don't have resources. I found that if you change the conversation and you started with a, yeah, I want to understand more. Like, let's talk about this. Let's set up some time. Let's really try to understand what the pain point is. And if in fact your idea would even resolve what the issue is. But if you started the conversation with being sincerely interested, and it didn't mean that priorities were necessarily going to change or that project was all of a sudden going to get the green light, but it would show the rest of the organization that you were really interested in understanding where their pains were and what things they felt like were going to help them accelerate the business. So, it's a balance there. And I know some people would take that as you can't say yes to everything because then you just become an order taker, et cetera. So it wasn't about, yes, I'm going to do what it is you're asking. It's yes, I want to build a partnership. I want to understand. And then jointly, we'll kind of figure out, hey, is this something we want to take up the chain to see if it warrants changing priorities? Or would we all agree, hey, you know what, probably this isn't something that we're going to focus on right now, but we've captured it and we'll make sure as we do planning for the future that these things are considered. But it was just, I noticed because, IT organizations in particular are so overburdened, right? I mean, there's, like no news is good news, right? Like that's not a way that people necessarily always get joy, but it's the reality of the role. But I would just remind them that, look, it's really easy to fall into the, oh my God, are you joking? There's just no way, even if that might be true. You don't need to express that. What you express is okay, because know that person's coming to you because they have 100 priorities that they're being expected to deliver on.
Yeah, and that organizational muscle just kind of builds up that natural defense mechanism, right?
Yep.
And it's interesting because we talk about not just having a seat at the table, but wanting to be in the first meeting of every new initiative. And if you get that brand of being a no, I don't think you're in that first meeting. You're probably in the fifth meeting.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Or I think that's when you do become the, hey, you didn't have much of a voice. And guess what? Now we are going to do this. And it's nice to be able to manage that a little more on your terms and with your engagement. And again, a lot of times these ideas, as you unravel them, not that there's ever a bad idea, but as you unravel it, you start to realize jointly that, hey, this actually isn't going to move the needle as much as we thought it was. But maybe if we, look at these other initiatives that are hoping to, solve similar problems, maybe we can incorporate it there, right? So that it really will have the impact that we're hoping it will have.
Yeah, buy some time to go back, analyze it, come back with a good response. And
exactly.
We have we teach this, one of the things we teach is we say no in the first meeting, which is another way of saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because chances are you're not going to message it well, even if this idea has no prayer in being initiated, but I like the approach that you're taking. So,
yeah. And, you touched on sort of my people responsibilities as well. That one of the other things that, I learned along the way, actually, I think I give Bev K some of the credit for this, was even when you're having interactions with employees, right? It's nothing to do about IT demand or intake process, but it has to do with, if somebody comes to you and they've got an issue or a concern or something they're wrestling with that's more personal, right? Like, hey, look, I don't think I'm paid enough, or hey, I've got some concern about my ability to grow in the organization. That if you have that conversation in the context of, I want to hear you out, I want to hear what it is that you're struggling with, but that you don't try to respond or problem solve it. You just listen and you say, you know what? I've heard you. Let me go back and think about this, and let me think about what the alternatives and what the options might be here. And again, in the end, the option may not be, hey, here's a big raise and here's a bunch of equity, but you've often bought yourself some positive, chips, because you listened and you went and asked other people and you said, hey, maybe could we do this? You didn't just dismiss it as, oh, come on, there's no way. If everyone that came to me that asked for a raise got a raise, whatever, you just don't do that in that discussion. You listen. And then you figure out how you're going to come back and respond in a separate meeting.
We packed an awful lot right there, Julie. You always do. You always do. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's so good to see you, Dan.
Hey there. I'm Ryan Becker, and I'm on the production team for the Inspiring IT Leaders video series. If you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up to help us grow, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Also, be sure to check out the Tech Whisperers podcast, where we take a peek inside the playbooks of the best digital leaders so that we can help you grow your career in tech leadership. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.